Woohoo! Wednesday, folks. Good morning, morning, morning. I hope you are well. It's Vicky Midwood here. I am the alcohol addiction and disordered eating eliminator. And I just wanted to jump on and expand a little bit on a post that I put in my private group, which is Lifestyle is Health. And basically, I said that veg oil affects your ability to burn fat as a fuel, and it does. So I wanted to just expand on that and just give you a little bit more about why I posted that. Well, so many people at the moment are thinking about weight loss, and just about everybody, including me, has put on weight over lockdown. And I think in lockdown 1, we kind of thought, well, it's not too bad, I'll lose it. And we did kind of have the restrictions lifted. And I think a lot of people did lose the few pounds that they put on. But then we had lockdown 2, didn't we? And then lockdown 3. And over Christmas, we kind of overindulge a little bit anyway, and we tend to move a little bit less. So it kind of makes sense that, just about everybody I have spoken to, all my friends in the health world as well, have all put on a little bit. Now, if you have no issues with health and no issues with food obsession and food addiction and yo-yo dieting and emotional eating, then it's pretty straightforward to just change your habits a little bit, and hopefully they'll just go. Those pounds will just go without too much effort. But if you are changing to vegetarian or vegan, which so many people are, there is, and I'm not saying you shouldn't at all, by the way. Those of you who know me know that I do not prescribe diets unless I am looking at a specific health issue for somebody, and we've done some testing and we know that they should not, for example, be following a keto diet, or they should be following a vegan or vegetarian diet. But those are the only reasons that I would prescribe a specific type of diet. For myself, I've got, as I've already said, most of you know this, I've got Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune issue of the thyroid, which means I have to follow an AIP type of diet, which is anti-inflammatory. And I am very much paleo keto because I can't do grains. Gluten is something that if you have an autoimmune issue, just don't go there. And for those of you who have autoimmune issues and tell me, oh, but I can't live without bread, that's all I'm going to say. It's your choice. We just know there is irrefutable evidence that if you have an autoimmune issue, gluten will, without doubt, make things worse. It also causes inflammation in the brain, and we're doing more and more research on the brain now to look at things that cause inflammation on the brain. And unfortunately, vegetable oil falls into that category, right? It causes inflammation in the body because your body cannot break it down particularly well, and it will affect your ability to burn fat. Now, people have got this idea that all fat is bad, and that is not true, right? We have to have fat to function, right? You have something called cholesterol, right, which most people have heard of. And cholesterol has been painted as this baddie. But what most people forget, and you did do this in biology when you were at school, right, but you've probably forgotten it, is that your body makes cholesterol, right, because it needs it to survive, right? 80% of your body's needs of cholesterol are made by the body, right? Because every single cell requires cholesterol. Your nervous system needs cholesterol. Your brain needs cholesterol. You cannot function without it. And natural fats, and what do I mean by natural fats? I mean, natural fats are the fats that occur in foods just by nature. So animal sources are a prime example. You have protein and fat together, right? As nature intended. Protein fills you up and fat provides that satisfied feeling to the food, right? And for those of you who've ever gone down the road of trying low fat things and eating lean meat all of the time, you often find you don't get quite that same satisfaction. Not full up, you'll get full up, but you don't necessarily get the satisfied feel. And the people that I work with, particularly my disordered eating clients and my alcohol addiction clients, are looking for satisfaction. And that's what they're not necessarily feeling when they've eaten foods. And fat will give you that sense of satisfaction, but it needs to be natural fat. So the fat that occurs in eggs is natural fat. The fat that occurs in chicken and in fatty fish, things like sardines and mackerel and salmon, those kinds of fishes, the fat that occurs in, your pork and your beef and your lamb and all of those things, right? That is what I call natural occurring fat. There is also natural occurring fat in fruits. Notice I said fruits, not vegetables. Yeah, fruits. So somebody asked on my post, is olive oil okay? So olives are a fruit, and olive oil is absolutely fine, as long as it's not mixed and adulterated with other things, with other oils, because often that happens because it makes it cheaper, right? Pure olive oil from a good source should not be cheap. And if it's cheap, you need to look at the ingredients on the back and say, well, what the heck else is in here? Olive oil is ideally for dressing salads and stuff like that, because if you heat olive oil to too high a temperature, it's going to change the composition. I'm getting into biochemistry now, but it's going to change the composition of the fat, which is not ideal for your body. So the thing with vegetable oils is that they're usually made from seeds and from flowers. So think rapeseed oil, think safflower oil, think sunflower oil, and your bog basic vegetable oil. Now, these are processed, right, to heck. And I hope by now we're all getting the message through that processed foods are the biggest problem to our health, to our obesity, to diabetes, to Alzheimer's. And if you haven't got that message yet, let me say it loud and clear. Eating processed foods is probably the worst thing that you can do for your health. And all processed foods, pretty much, so your biscuits and your cakes and your ready meals and frozen stuff, right? Tinned stuff, a lot of it is processed and made with the cheaper vegetable oils for that very reason. They are cheap. And we don't want to spend, as a nation and globally, a lot of European nations do not want to spend too much on food. We'd rather buy more for less. Hence, places like Aldi and all that are really, really popular. But unfortunately, it does mean that we're compromising on quality, and it does mean that we're compromising on actually how our body is able to function. So what I wanted to just kind of clarify was that it's the seed oils that you need to be aware of. And if you are going vegan and vegetarian, go for coconut oil, go for olive oil, as opposed to going for your cheaper vegetable oils and sunflower oils, especially for cooking and for salad dressings and stuff like that. They taste better, you need less. And the crucial thing is, and that was the reason for my post, is that natural fats will help your body to burn fat, right? Because they switch on and they help to give the messages to the hormones. Remember, hormones are just messengers, right? And hormones need the right kind of fat to be told what to do. And it's the wrong kind of fat, then your fat burning switches off. Yes? So it causes inflammation, does vegetable fat. And when we've got inflammation, it means that your body is going to, first of all, do everything in its power to deal with that inflammation. It's going to calm it down. Inflammation equals a stress response. A stress response is that fight or flight, when the body secretes adrenaline and cortisol and you get ready to stand up and fight, or you get ready to run away. In today's world, we don't need to do either of those things, but the stress response is still the same. And that happens when your body is inflamed, as well as when there's an external thing going on. And as soon as cortisol comes in, right, insulin's going to be following pretty soon, okay? And when insulin is in your body a lot of the time, it means that your body is choosing not to burn fat, but to store fat. So if you are calorie counting and you're using ready-made foods that contain vegetable oil, you're just making it hard for yourself. And life, I think, is too short for it to be harder than it needs to be. So play detective, start looking at the ingredients labels, not the nutritional information, right? That's the one that's usually in like really strong, bold print and stands out in your face, and the one that everybody thinks that they should be looking at. You know, the ingredients, the tiny little bit of writing that you kind of miss, that's the stuff that's important. important because that tells you what's actually in the product and how much, because it's written in volume. It literally, the biggest amount of whatever is first. Yeah, it literally goes, whatever is the top ingredient, that's the most of it is in that product, and then it just lessens by degree. So it's volume. Green ingredients are there by volume. They have to be by law. So if you've got vegetable oil like second or third on the list, you know it's pretty high in that particular product. Put it back, choose something else, right? There are a lot of choices, and this is the joy of it, folks. There are now a lot of choices that don't have all of these ingredients. Or better still, if you're wanting to make ready meals, how about you start batch cooking and prepare your own, stick your own in the freezer. At least you know what's gone in them. If it comes to baked goods, I'm not saying don't eat cakes and don't eat biscuits if those are the things that you enjoy and they give you pleasure, then, but make your own rather than buying them, because you're going to unwittingly be eating the wrong type of fat. And if you are doing so well and you're doing everything that you should be, and you're looking at your macros and you're counting your calories and you're doing your exercise and you're not getting the results that you expected, then maybe look at what fat am I actually choosing to eat. If you've got any questions on fat or anything to do with health and food and healthy eating, then please do ask. This is one of the reasons that I did my health MOT. So that the health MOT course now, guys, is available and it is live for you to purchase. So this is a self-paced course, right? This is an online course. You do it yourself. All of the modules are laid out, and you start with module 1 and you just go through each little lesson. There's PDFs and videos, and don't worry about printing stuff out if you haven't got a printer. Those PDFs are more of like templates. You can do whatever's on the PDF, you can put it on a piece of paper, right? You don't need to have anything special to do it. I don't talk about massively calorie restricting or dieting or anything like that, but the last module is healthy eating, and in there you've got 2 free ebooks. One is about the basics of food, which some of you have downloaded, because I've offered it free in this group, and I think it's still in the files here if you're going to go check that out. It's the bog basics of food, which talks about carbohydrates and fats and proteins and vitamins and minerals and what are these things and why do we need them. So that's one of your free ebooks that's on the health MOT course. And the other one is all about just what is healthy eating, and I bust myths, right? Because I'm still seeing all of these myths everywhere on social media, and once I've just done that a few times, I'm just like, okay, let me just try and set the record straight. Not just me, but everybody else who's in the world of health and nutrition. We're all doing this when we read some of this stuff. We can't believe that after all these years, people are still falling for the low-fat, processed garbage as being part of a healthy diet. But fact is they are, and fact is that we need to change things slowly and one step at a time. So let's not change everything at once, but let's just start, crowding some of that crap out with better choices. And that's the way forward, is to just start to make a gentle switch, not everything in one go because you won't stick to it. And allow yourself to just get a bit savvy. If you do decide you want to do the health MOT, and I highly recommend that everybody does it, anybody who has got any health issues whatsoever, right, you can start where you're at, and you will see improvements if you follow the modules and do actually implement the stuff. You will improve your health from where you're at right now. And in this whole pandemic, which, let's face it, it is a health crisis, then it should be absolute priority on everybody's list, should be looking after their health. And the government are not helping you to do that by just giving you drugs and a vaccine. You need to take responsibility too. Yes, we want people to have a vaccine, and yes, we want people to get immunity, but we need them to be healthy and fit enough to be able to actually get the benefits of that vaccine and to not be open to any other virus that's going to come along in the future, because it will, right? And we need to be resilient to that. So my health MOT is available. Go and check it out. It's on my website. It's vickymidwood.com. That's simple. Just go to health MOT and you can start today. Excellent, guys. Have a good Wednesday, whatever you get up to. I hope you enjoy it, and I wish you woohoo. Take care.